Okay, so during that, you were talking about passwords and effective passwords. You're always talking about passwords in your ebooks, speaking engagements, your training, and you're always pointing out that you need to create strong passwords. So, give us some effective strategies for managing passwords and creating passwords across multiple sites.
Number one is get a password manager. We are a partner with Keeper, which is a great password manager. Another good one is 1Password. If anyone's using LastPass, I'm recommending to change to Keeper or 1Password. LastPass has had some compromises. Not that their credentials were stolen, but their actual source code was accessed, which in some ways is more disturbing. But uh, Password Manager will let you randomly create complex and long passwords. It will make you, or if you use it, you will have a unique password for every login that you have, which is what you should do. And they're easy to use, and sometimes they'll fill in your password. You won't care what your password is
Mhm.
because it's in your password manager and it syncs across all your devices. Now, there's a couple of things that come up. The cynics out there will say, well, wait a minute, that's a single point of failure. What if my password manager gets cracked? You just said LastPass has been compromised. Well, the answer to that is all of the good password managers, including LastPass, encrypts the password locally when it's created, right? You create a new password, a new set of credentials for a new website login, and that data is encrypted locally. Then it's transmitted to your phone or your desktop or whatever devices you use to synchronize. So you've always got your passwords with you. And it unencrypts on the receiving device when you pull it up. So there's two things there. Number one is the data is always encrypted in transit when it's floating around the internet. And it's also encrypted on the password manager servers. Even they themselves cannot crack this encryption. They can't help you if you lose the master password to your password manager. They can't help you get into it because they never knew it to begin with.
Mhm.
But yes, does it produce a single point of failure? The answer to that is yes, but it's very, very, very unusual. And as a reminder, even the LastPass compromise, we have no reason to believe that the credentials stored were compromised because they are encrypted.
Mhm.
But I also know 90% of the people listening to this statistically reuse passwords. You know,
Mhm.
you've got the same username and password on your Amazon account as you do on your Facebook account. Now, the problem with that, and I know that 60% of you that reuse your passwords know you shouldn't do it. But for the 40% that don't know why, uh, the reason you don't reuse passwords because once one of those sites is compromised,
Mhm.
all of the sites that you've used the same set of credentials on is compromised. So when Facebook gets compromised yet again, because
Mhm.
it's going to happen again, security is not job one at Facebook, by the way. Uh, then as soon as that happens, they're going to test it against Amazon and Citi and Merrill Lynch and Tampa General Medical, whatever. They're just going to start testing those credentials other places because they know 90% of the population reuses passwords. Password Manager stops that. Now, when you install that password manager, as I know you will because I've created such a compelling case for using one, you need to go in and change a couple of default settings. And one of those has to do with the length of the password. Okay. I want you to spin that thing up to like 24, 26, 30 characters. Now, you may be saying, well, that's overkill because there's a blog post on the website that says it will take 3.2 trillion years to crack a 30 character randomly generated password, right? To brute force it. And that is indeed true.
Mhm.
The problem is that's shrinking every year as computers get more and more power, more CPU power, more raw power, and AI starts bringing a little bit into that as well. So if you take the 12 character default setting, and I can't remember how long it takes to brute force 12 characters, but it's not much. It's
Mhm.
affordable to crack a 12 character password. And you don't care what your password is anymore, right? You don't have to know what it is, you don't have to remember it. And it's going to automatically copy, you're going to copy and paste. So you're not having to type a whole bunch of, 30 characters out there.
Right.
Spin that default setting up to 25, 30 characters, and then you don't have to worry about it. If you leave 12 here in 2 or 4 more years, that's going to be crackable within minutes or seconds. So that's the other deal. Complex, randomly generated, unique, long passwords. That's it. That's the secret to happiness.
That's a
And
secret.
if it's some obscure website that gets compromised and you've got unique passwords, yeah, you don't have to sweat it,
Right.
right? That's
Absolutely.
one less thing you got to worry about. I'm telling you, some people, and I was one of them when I started using a password manager 30 some odd years ago. It's a hassle. It's a hassle to learn. They're all a little bit quirky. And it's not because there's anything wrong with the software. Sometimes they don't play nice with websites,
Mhm.
certain websites. And, but I promise you, if you stick with it, at the end of 30 days, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. And you'll be much, much more secure.
Absolutely. Well, Tom, that's all of my questions on personal security today. I appreciate you stopping by to chat with us and share your knowledge. Thank you.
All right. My pleasure.
Stay vigilant, y'all.